What's the philosophy of the group? I know that you talked about Monk and you talked about Miles Davis, and obviously Straight Ahead is a is a priority to some extent. I would imagine. But what's the philosophy? Do you want the people to after they listen to you, and what do you want them to walk away with from one of your performances?
Well, I'd like it to be an emotional experience more so than an intellectual uh, uh, experience.
More visceral, right? In
Yeah,
a
more
sense.
visceral. Yeah, I'm a Coltrane. You know, Coltrane, John Coltrane to Kurt Cobain. I like. I kind of like the visceral side of things, and I like. I like people to feel something. I think at its best, jazz is an emotional. You know, nobody was really. I don't think they were trying to be clever or intellectual. I mean, they came up with some great stuff, but I think they were trying to convey emotion. So I don't want to lose that. You know.
LaRhonda, you've played with a lot of musicians here in the Portland area. How much of that is brought into what you do? I mean, how do you describe what you do in terms of your music, the genre? How do you do that?
So far as our original music, a lot of it was written by Mark, but I had the pleasure of being able to co-write as well. So, yes, somewhat of a collaboration. The melodies and whatnot kind of come from both of us. I think on the CD you can tell which songs I wrote. I kind of come from a painful place. You know, that's where a lot of my emotion is drawn from, and especially in relationship. The Be Okay is kind of about, a relationship where a woman has been done wrong, shall we say. We have another one called In and Out Romance that I wrote with a bottle of wine because I was upset. And so we just wrote it down. It's like, you say I'm crazy, I don't feel that way, I'm medicated. You know, you never listen to what I say. I mean, I just break it down like that. So for me, a lot of just whatever I'm feeling emotionally comes through in the music, and that's just the way I have to present it. And Be Okay is especially dear to my heart. And when Mark wrote the tribute to Joe Zawinul, I just kind of channeled what that would be like to have a mentor that passed on who really affected my music. So I just channeled those energies, and yeah.
The state of music or the state of jazz availability right now in Portland, how would you describe the I mean, because if we want to go out and listen to this wonderful music, America's classical music, what's the availability right now in Portland? Because we've always heard that Portland is a good jazz town. Is that still true?
You might want Mark to answer that.
Okay, I'll let Mark. I'll let Mark feel. I'll let Mark feel this one. Because
I'm nice. I'm going to be nice. Portland actually has it's really deep in great players, you know, and if anything, I was talking to, there's a piano player by the name of Jessica Williams she does a national thing, you know, she's a great piano player, and she was playing, I think, the Alexis Hotel down there on this little toy piano. But she was killing. I mean, she was, you know, smoking a cigarette with this and doing this crazy, you know. I mean, she's just like, and it was me and I think Dick Burke was drummer, was sitting at the table, and she got, and everybody was kind of having their drinks and sipping their lattes, and she was playing phenomenally, you know. So it's like I said, I don't know, and I was kind of saying, I don't know if it's a jazz town, and she actually got up and she said, well, Mark, I don't know if it's a jazz world, you know. To be honest, it's kind of a minority in a way that genre, as far as popularity, it's gone on to, you know, it's the same with classical music, you know. It's not necessarily as popular. You're not going to hear it playing a lot in people's cars and that kind of thing. So while it's not a jazz world, Portland does have a scene, and it is rich in great musicians, you know, and then lately we've actually had a number of folks come in from New Orleans, and they bring a certain. I like those guys because they have a real authentic kind of a view on things, you know. But if you can catch it, because I mean they're great players here, you know.
I don't want this to sound like a commercial, but where are some of the venues that people can?
Well, a couple actually. There's of course the Jimmy Mac's. And then there is a place called Tony Starlight's right off of Sandy around about 35th and 37th. Clyde's hosts Jazz Night with Ron Steen on Sunday nights, and that's on Sandy. And there's Doc's Kitchen, Doc George's Kitchen off of, I believe, off of Fremont. So, and then always downtown, like in I believe the Benson and the Heathman, do they still?
I think so.
Yeah, there's little pockets with it, but I would say the main places would be Jimmy Mac's and Clyde's on Sundays. Augustana Lutheran Church has a jazz worship service every Sunday. Yeah, so yeah, there's several places you can find it. Just hunt.
You know, we're so honored to have you, because keeping this music alive is paramount, and it's a great vocation. Do you take it personally in terms of this obligation to keep this music alive? It seems to come through with your playing and your music selection.
Yeah, I think it's important really to keep the spirit of it alive. I can't say necessarily I would be a traditionalist.
Because obviously you're not getting rich.
No, you're not making any money at it, you know. And actually, I think at its best, jazz is a melting pot, you know. And there's some, you know, there's like Wynton Marsalis and his band doing a traditional thing, you know, and they're just doing it so well. You can't say that they're, you know, jazz Nazis because they're just that good, you know. You can't. But a lot of where were we?
Keeping the music alive.
Oh yeah, and I think it is being kept alive. I don't know if it's entirely being kept alive through what would be traditionally a jazz venue. You know, a lot of gospel stuff now is just killing. And there's everything. You know, you see, I went and saw. We went and saw Israel's band, and they were warming up on Giant Steps. You know, they were warming up on Coltrane. So that it is alive, whether you see it or not. It's an influence in what you see in R&B and everything else. You know.